Are you turning 65 soon, or maybe in the next 12 months? Well, you are not alone. 10,000 people a day nationwide are turning 65 every single day. So what do we do at that particular point in time? I get that question all the time. What do I do next? What is my next step? So this video, we're going to talk all about what to do, how to do it, and make it as simple as possible. First of all, congratulations. If you or someone you love is turning 65, there are so many informational pieces that you'll be receiving in the mail. It'll make a huge stack on your kitchen counter. And so my job here today is to help you make that as the least amount of confusion as possible. So what do we do first? So if you have a birthday where you're turning 65 and it's in the next 3 months, you are already in what we call your initial enrollment period. This is the time frame when you're able to start getting the ball rolling. You can contact Social Security first and make sure that you enroll into both Part A and Part B of Medicare. Part A is your hospitalization benefit. This comes to most people at no additional cost, assuming either you or a spouse have worked for at least 10 years or 40 quarters. So if you are already 65 and you know that you've worked or you have a spouse who has, that should come at no extra cost and be in place automatically. And it would go effective the first day of your birthday month in most cases. So if your birthday is in the month of September, any day except for the 1st, the 2nd through the 30th, your effective date would start September the 1st. If you have a birthday that happens to fall on the first day of the month, your coverage would actually go in effect 1 month prior. So it would actually go effective August the 1st. So when you talk to Social Security, they should explain all of this and help you make sure that you get enrolled into both Part A and Part B. In Part B, if you are not drawing on Social Security, they should have you actively enroll into Part B. You can do this over the phone with Social Security, or you can go online to ssa.gov, which is the Social Security Administration.gov, and enroll into Medicare. Make sure that you let them know that you are turning 65, enter all of your information, and that usually takes 2 to 3 weeks to process once you fill all of that out online, okay? And they would then send you a confirmation letter from the Social Security Administration at the top with their header on there that says, "Welcome to Medicare." It should give you your Part A and Part B effective date. In most cases, your Part A and Part B should be effective the same date. Okay. If you are enrolling initially into Medicare for the first time, but you're past age 65, in some cases, if we continue working or things like that, that can happen. So if you're already 65 or maybe 66 or even older, your Part A would have automatically gone into place back when you turned 65, the first day of your birthday month. If you are now enrolling actively into Medicare Part B, that would go effective, obviously at a later date, and would be dependent on when you're either retiring or when your group coverage or credible coverage is ending. It would go effective the first day of the following month, okay? And again, Social Security, when you give them this information, they should be able to tell you exactly what that date would be. It's within 63 days of your group coverage ending, okay? Step number 2, once you have Part A and Part B, is to talk with your prescribing physicians. It's always a great idea if you have certain providers, doctors, specialists, surgeons, etc., that you want to continue seeing. Maybe you have ongoing treatment where you know that you're going to need to see those specific providers for an extended period of time. It's very important to talk to them about what insurance plans that they may or may not accept, which ones they prefer, and which ones might work best for you. Number 3 is to determine your costs. This is a very important piece and a question that I often get during the annual enrollment period in the fall. Well, how come I didn't know that I was overpaying, or I didn't realize that this was an out-of-pocket cost? So it's very important to determine your costs, and feel free to download your checklist below and make sure that you get that on your computer and start filling out those costs where they pertain to you and what your costs would be specifically, so that you don't encounter any surprises and so that you don't overpay. And that worksheet will help walk you through exactly what costs to look at, where to find those costs, and how to do those calculations. Number 4 is going to be to talk to an agent. So many times during annual enrollment at the end of the year, people will say, well, I don't have an agent. How come I don't have one? Where do I go for help? And so it's very important to initially enroll into a Medicare plan through an agent who is specialized in the Medicare world. It's so important because you can get all of your questions answered based on where you are. Maybe you're retiring, maybe you have questions about costs, maybe you have group coverage that you're trying to coordinate benefits with, or maybe you have providers that only accept certain plans. When you talk to an agent who knows all about the ins and outs of these questions, that can really help you narrow down your plan choices and make sure that you are exactly where you need to be. And then you have a point person going forward. So anytime you have questions, anytime you have concerns, maybe you move, maybe you change your address and you want to know the ins and outs of how to make that work, how to make sure that you don't lose your coverage or find out if it travels with you over state lines or things like that. Again, it's great to have a point person where you have their direct contact information and you don't have to wait on hold with the insurance carrier and things like that. If you find somebody that really knows what they're doing, they should stay in touch with you and make sure that if anything changes in your lifestyle or anything like that, that they are on top of it and can help you make that transition as smooth as possible. So when it comes to Medicare, once you've enrolled with Social Security, like you said, give it 2 to 3 weeks in order for all of that information to process. You should then receive a confirmation letter. It'll have your Medicare claim number on it. We call that a Medicare beneficiary identification number. You should also be given on that sheet exactly what your costs would be. So Part A would be automatic, and it shouldn't have in most cases, should not have an additional cost associated with it. Part B as in boy, to most people for the year 2020 would have a general cost of $144.60. If you fall into a higher tax bracket, or in the last 2 years you've made more money, or you fall into that higher route, then that dollar amount could be higher. If you receive state assistance or financial assistance through Extra Help or Medicare Savings Plan or something like that, then it may actually be your Part B premium may be picked up for you by your state, or it would be, in theory, reduced based on the level of extra help that you receive. Keep in mind, if you are drawing on Social Security already, your Part B might go effective right away automatically as well, because they already have your information in the system. If you are drawing on Social Security, that Part B premium of $144.60, or again higher if you fall into a higher tax bracket, that should automatically be taken out the month prior to your effective date. If you are not drawing on Social Security yet or don't plan to, that's not a problem. It shouldn't affect anything. The difference would be that you should receive a quarterly bill for 3 months at a time. So 144 or whatever your dollar amount is times 3, you would receive in the mail, and that would be for your Medicare Part B premium, and that would be paid directly to the federal government. Again, Medicare only recognizes the first day of every month. So even if your birthday, let's say, is March 20th or July 4th or something like that, your coverage will actually go effective on the first day of that same month. Okay, Medicare only recognizes the first day of every month. Keep in mind, if you are initially getting into Medicare and turning 65 for the first time, you do have the 3 months prior to your birth month. So if you have a September birthday, you actually have 3 months prior, so June, July, and August, as well as the 3 months following your birthday month. So October, November, December in this case. So essentially there is a 7-month window that would determine that you could essentially determine which health plan you want to enroll into and get signed up for. And I hope that this video was beneficial. I know there are a lot of questions surrounding what happens and what to do initially when you get into Medicare. If you are still working, if you are working well past 65, and if you're 65 now and wondering, am I going to get penalized? What does this look like? No, as long as you have credible group employer coverage in place, as long as you're still working, you will have no penalties. If you retire and you keep staying on the credible group coverage. You actually have 8 months that you can stay on the group coverage according to Medicare. If you are coming off at that point, at that 8 months, it's very important to come off of it at that point. Otherwise, that they would actually insist that you wait until the following July 1st, for the general enrollment period. If you have more questions, if this is still really confusing for you, I know that it was for my dad initially when he got into Medicare. He was in a different state than me at the time, and he would ask me questions every day. What do I do with this that is coming in my mailbox? And I heard this from a friend, and what do I do with this? So it's very important to have a point person and somebody that you can ask all of your questions to, just because we do get bombarded right at age 65. The world knows that you're getting into Medicare, and it can be really overwhelming when you look at that stack of paperwork that fills up in your mailbox. So we are happy to help. Feel free to download your checklist below, your free checklist, as far as getting into Medicare. It's your step-by-step guide. It also has great information for you to refer back to. So print that out, put it on your fridge. You can also visit us online at igniteinsurancegroup.com, which is also below. We have a special new to Medicare section. Feel free to visit that. Visit our blog for some frequently asked questions and articles, and I hope this helps. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.